we do have some videos, but they might not necessarily be the most applicable ones.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just walk you through, take you to the dashboard, but let me first make sure that I'm on the right page. Okay. Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes, please. Yeah. Go ahead.
So after you logged in, obviously, typically taken to the dashboard, and on the first screen is you see the last 5 applicants, but in here it's not possible to see which role they applied for. So if you then go to applications received, start now grouping people against particular opportunities. So
Okay.
if you look at one of mine, this is quite a hard role to find people, because typically this is a role, I'm looking for a WordPress developer but with PHP experience. And this is typically people with this experience, they're out there earning money rather than wanting to volunteer. So in my case, I haven't been lucky yet, but this gentleman applied today, so I didn't have a chance to go and look at his profile. So I think when somebody applied, you get an email alert that has the email address, person's profile link, and the telephone number if that's given. So you have that vital piece of information. From there, obviously, you could also look at the profile from the dashboard. Hi, Tracy, how are you?
Hi, Manoj.
Hi, we are going through a quick demo of the dashboard for
Hello, Tracy.
viewers' benefit,
Welcome.
but I think you are familiar with the process, so please bear with us. So you could basically click the profile right-hand button. Sorry, just I got to let my cat in. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Come on. Sorry, it's been raining. I called the cat, but called Basil, but didn't come now. He suddenly decided to come in.
No, dear.
Now he's going to trouble me. Okay. Yes. So you can go and look at the profile. Oh, sorry, I didn't click. Typically, this button, this icon is for profile. You can click on that. But if you click on it, it just load on the same page. So I could start looking at the profile if that individual's got the basic experience or knowledge, then I might want to take it to the next stage. So the next stage for us is that we have a pre-qualification questionnaire. Now you're very welcome to copy this if you haven't already done so and amend it to suit you. The whole idea is trying to get a little bit more information about the individuals and trying to understand what else is the person doing right now, and the number of hours he or she might be willing to commit. And you could also look at, I think this one I recently added, especially given that we get quite a lot of applicants. And it's sometimes a little bit difficult to understand who's the best person to interview. So, this section can be used to sort of get a bit more understanding of, why does this person want this particular role? And once you got that, then you take it to the interview stage. And then if the interview is successful, you could then take our volunteer agreement template, modify it to suit yourself again, and get that signed by both parties. Once the agreement is signed, then use this button to approve. But please don't press this button beforehand, because when you press this button, it sends an email alert to the individual confirming that they've been selected. If you click this before interview, they get completely confused because they've been selected, and some of them get really excited, but all their emails come to me, and then I don't have a clue about what happened. So please only select this at the end of the process. But if you decide to terminate this individual anytime, you could click this and reject. And if you reject, it would be really nice if you can just go to the profile and leave a message. So when you go to the profile, you have the ability to contact, in this case, contact me. If you press this button, and then you could send a short message explaining why the person was rejected. Just nice to do that. Oh, I got a chat. Okay. Yeah. So that's the process. Now, obviously, Tracy, you've been around for a while, so I don't know whether you have a HR volunteer. Great.
Yes.
You do. Okay.
But
Gabriel.
how do we create the opportunity?
Sorry?
That would be the beginning, right? So first of all, create the role.
Okay.
So how do we?
Oh, so you haven't done anything yet, have you?
No, I've not yet
okay.
created.
All right. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. So what we suggest is that you create the opportunity, and let's take one of our roles. Okay, let's look at this one. So what we suggest is you follow this format. So a little bit about the company, try to get people excited about your company, what the opportunity is, what your needs are. So, the communication, record keeping, self-learner, that type of thing is quite important, but also there might be some specific related to this. So in this case, we need WordPress experience. Then what would the activities be? Now we flip over saying, what they're going to gain out of this, what sort of experience would they get, and what sort of skills would they acquire, then a commitment to give an endorsement if they completed successfully. And then this is very important, the disclaimer. Sorry, Tracy, you have a question.
Yes, it's not a question as such. Just in case, because I understand this can be very daunting for Gabriel. So I'm happy to, if he's going for a HR, which is what Manu suggested that we do, which has really helped, I gotta be honest, has really helped us in terms of getting our employees. Gabriel, if you want our template, it's the same thing as what Manu just giving, but just to make it easy for you, if you needed a HR, because I've been there, so I understand how you might be feeling. So if you want to see what we've written for KCA, so it's Kitchen Cottage Academy, I'm happy to send that to you, see what the HR, because what you need is HR first of all. That's what Manu suggested, and that's what we went for when we first started. So it's because I'm sorting out the kids, that's why I ain't got my camera, but I will put it on at some point. Once I've sorted them, they're on holidays, you know what I mean? Constantly eating.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm happy to help you there if you need that. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's perfect. Fine, Tracy.
What we've got, so that you get a HR person. Once you have a HR person on board, the work gets a little bit easier. It really does. And that was Manu's suggestion. I'm glad I took it that way when I started, because it can be daunting.
Yes. I mean, we do have people who say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this way. And most of them do end up struggling. So with the HR volunteer, what we do is we provide introductory training. So if you, and we could do a little bit additional service as well, Tracy, if you need a bit more,
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Our HR person did attend this session. You know,
Okay.
the last session you had? Yes. So I
Yes.
sent it to the HR lead at the time and he attended it. Yes. And he said it was very useful.
Okay.
Yeah. I just thought
So what we are looking at, we haven't committed to this because we haven't got the resources yet, is that I think we might run a like a week-long tutorial type thing for HR volunteers, because for us, getting HR volunteer is so crucial, because we have churn due to number of reasons. And I think, and one of those reasons is because we typically deal with the CEO of these are very tiny tech startups. If they don't get results immediately, they just see us as a waste of time. So what we want to do is to get a HR volunteer in, but we also realize that, you know, the basic introductory training we provide might not be enough. So we are looking at, can we actually provide maybe some of them shadow our HR volunteers or something, or like a bit more structured training program over a couple of days. So we might do that, but we haven't got that. It's just idea at the moment.
Okay.
But we also have HR volunteers who's actually gone through one term, volunteer term, but want to volunteer again. So for example, we have Hannah with us, who's done a stint with Kelly from GiveList. So she already knows, but the reason she joined us during the second term with us, join us, is that because now she's, I got another startup called Deallight. So she's actually become the HR volunteer for Deallight, but she's now actually building a whole HR team. So she's become like a senior HR volunteer or head of HR volunteer. So you can get more and more experience in that way. And I think Tech Scoop, Barbara from, she's in France. So I think her HR volunteers has also gone through another company. So I think, you know, so we want to put more effort into getting HR volunteers more aware of the process. Now, the other thing we have, which is bad of me, which I may have not shared with our new customer, is resources. I think Slack changed their terms. I think they're deleting content older than 3 months, or if there's more than 10,000 messages. So what we have here, if you go to the resource section on Slack, there's still some information. I mean, it's going back to 2021, so that's good. There's some information here as well. There's also a toolkit which I may or may not have shared with everyone. Let me try to find it.
Do you have like Dropbox folder that you use for the?
Okay, sorry. Okay. So this is open. So if I share that here again under resources. Oh, so there you go. It's here already. I think it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Let me see. No, that's the volunteer agreement. Sorry. Toolkit. I'll change this. So because we finished our second year, what I also want to do is take a bit of time and look at what else we can share with you. And we are also taking last year's experience to improve ourselves, and we'll share whatever we can with you as well. Hi, Graham.
Thank you.
Hi.
You call this 4 o'clock?
Sorry, I've
It's all right.
just got to come back to use PC at home. I got stuck in traffic
Okay.
on the A64, and my PC also decided to be difficult when it started, so plans failed slightly.
Okay. So Gabriel is just starting the process, and you met Tracy last time.
Hi, Graham.
Hi there.
So Graham, is there any specific questions you might have?
I think the only thing is sort of recommendations actually for document sharing amongst the sort of the team. We're using Slack at the moment, and you can sort of store documents in Slack. But I was just wondering if there's any suggestions. Should I use Google Drive or those sorts of things?
So we use Google Drive, but the Google do you have paid accounts, or are you, because
No, not at the moment.
Right, okay. So Google has what's called Google Workspace Essentials, which is free up to 25 people. The difference between that and the other Google accounts is that you do not get an email account with it, but you get access to Drive and the meeting and other facilities. So that's what I would recommend. That's what we have. So I have a paid account, but everyone else have a free account. We don't give, because it's only 25, and we typically have more than 25 people. So we only give the link to teammates who actually need documents. And the other, we also got a Box account, again free, that or Box or Dropbox, you could use whatever. And then we share like PDFs through there. So not every team member need a Google account, because Google account is useful if you're actually creating documents or commenting on them. But if they just want to access PDFs, then we use a Box account. So that's why we're trying to keep the cost down to a bare minimum at this stage. Slack we are using for collaboration, but Slack brought a new rule, which is that anything over 10,000 messages will be deleted. And I think some accounts, they said that anything over 3 months will be deleted. But looking at my different accounts, they don't seem to have a consistent policy, and it at the moment is for us in our benefit. So Graham, do you have a HR volunteer now?
We do, yeah, and it's very good. I'm trying to remember her name actually, but yeah, it's coming together nicely. It's been a bit slow, trying to get things organized, but now we have a group of 3 people in particular who are sort of working together as this little sort of sub team, and they're really starting to drive the other volunteers and also mentoring them as well. So that's starting to work quite nicely. Cheta, that's the lady's name.
Sorry?
Cheta, she's called. Very, very good. Very useful.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to provide whatever the training you need for HR volunteers, because it's hard for us to commit enough resources to help you find the talent. But if we, rather than it's like, rather than we show you the way, and showing you the way is by helping you get a good HR volunteer. Because I think, in the past, customers keep asking us, could you actually vet volunteers? Could you help us? So, for example, Arpan from Comedial, he's been with us for a long time, but he's always struggles, and but we can't really find and motivate people. So there's the volunteering is different from contracting or freelancing. They are here to gain experience, and you are here to gain value from that and get your company moving forward. So you have to treat them better than, let's say, paid employee in some respect. But you have to also monitor. You need to have frameworks in place of how you're going to monitor what they are doing and help. And they also want to obviously chat with you, and some of them want to do more than what you may have asked, and getting that combination, that human level interaction is very important if you want to get success out of this. And we have failed many times ourselves because we all get busy. But I think that human interaction is the one that actually going to deliver value.
Yeah. So yeah, we've set up minimum weekly meetings with the team
Right.
to make sure we know what's going on,
Okay.
but also to make sure that they feel that they're being supported. If they've got any issues, then we can try and address them.
Yeah. So what we do, Gabriel, is that we have daily updates area. So everybody submit a quick update, and then I or anyone else, and typically it's just me, can go and comment or have another discussion around that. So we also have, we are building teams. So if I show you our current teams, we had to rebuild some of the teams because people have left and I haven't really updated things. But so if you look at our HR team, so Saloni is really good. So she's extending. Sylvia finished. So I need.
It appears you have it like volunteering has a period of time that.
Yes.
So what is
it? So it's typically 3 months.
Okay.
And we suggest 1 to 3 hours per day. Some customers ask for different requirement. They say like 5 days a month, but we want everybody to do something every day because we are building a more of a team culture. So Sylvia finished. I need to do her testimonials. Saloni is not finished 3 months, but she's extending. Cecilia's extending. And suddenly left. We got to accept that these things happen. And we have, I think we have one more team member I haven't added here. And Cecilia and Saloni is now bringing in more team members to the HR team. We used to have a head of HR in the past, but the last head of HR couldn't start because she went through a surgery just before, and that sort of took her off because she had some complications after that. But it's possible that, if Cecilia or Saloni, we might end up actually getting one of them or two of them to be the core head, and then bring a new bunch of HR volunteers. So you could adopt different strategies of how you want to build teams. And then if you look at product, I'm in the process. She's seconded from my other company, but I'm in the process of building a little team now. Sales at the moment, just me. Support, Abisola was the person who was helping our customers, so she she finished at 3 months. Janet is our head of support, and then I think we have more people. I need to update this page. Janet is basically rebuilding the team, adding more people. She's going to extend her time as well. So support, we use Talk, which is at the corner. I don't know whether anyone provide online support.
I use that chat
Okay.
with Abisola.
So what I'll show you quickly is how we use support. So I don't know whether you looked at reporting, because this shows us the productivity of the support team. And in the past, we had to, I think even last month, we had to step in, and so we let one person go because she didn't do anything. But if you look at here, this month's a little bit, sort of we relaxed a little bit, and I think that's because we ended the second year, and this August is a little bit quiet in UK. So performance-wise, we've dropped, but you could see that if you look at in the past. So Janet, again, I think So you could see how people are performing. So if and I think what Janet was trying to do is to get people to help at least 20 people a day. That hasn't, we haven't really achieved that. But we want to sort of regroup and get back to having that high target. So what I'm trying to show you here is that with Talk, the reporting side is already part of that tool. So it's much easier. Whereas other functions like HR, we don't actually use any HR software as such. So
this is a paid tool, Talk?
Sorry?
Talk is a paid tool, right?
No, Talk is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't have a paid version. Their paid version is where they provide support talent and they charge something like $1 per hour. But it's one of those tools which is 100% free, but it doesn't have any automated function, automated chats, etc. There's no AI or anything like that. It's a very simple product.
Okay.
So I think
great.
the issue is that this monitoring or understanding what people are doing is very important to have a because my aspiration is to build a high performance team using volunteers and prove that we can, but we are not anywhere close to that at the moment, because we need some method of monitoring what's happening with people. Yeah, so any more questions? I think what I will do is probably it's going to be September. I will start sharing more of what works. And one of the things we haven't done is that we still don't, we are into year 3. I still don't have a sequence of emails I send when a customer sign up. I think I've tried, but I never managed to get the sequence in place. So I want to try to do that, because I think then I can get everything that we need to share across to our customers. That
would be great.
Yeah. So the other thing I would like to see happening is that earlier Tracy offered to help Gabriel. That sort of customer knowledge, because you're subscribing to what we provide, but it's sometimes best to get help from each other.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Tracy, for volunteering to help me.
That's okay.
Yeah. So
she looks Nigerian. Are you in Nigeria as well, Tracy?
No, I'm based in the UK.
Oh, okay.
So we seem to be building quite a rapport with Nigerian diaspora. So we have, I think, there's a few others. I think Barbara from France, she's, I think, Nigerian background. I think there's a few others. We have a few from US as well. Yeah, so.
Yeah, this will help. I need to actually get a tech team to build a product. So I think the HRO person will help me start up that process.
So there's one thing that we haven't done consistently, but recognize it, which is that it's vital to have some sort of a role description, not what you put on our website, but more comprehensive role description that you could hand out on day one when you onboard the volunteer. So that onboarding process, getting that, if you can get that to be very slick, then the results will be better. And we seem to mess this up quite often because we haven't got the paperwork in place. So, and another thing we recognize is that especially our volunteer acquisition team, because we had this target end of last year, end of July, we pushed everybody to just do that. And then we sort of lost the what's in it for the volunteer thing, that side. So we are now rethinking about, so for our volunteer acquisition, we use LinkedIn and other social media, but we were just using one medium rather than giving them a broader experience. So we want to rethink about how we, even within the HR team, the HR team has, in the past, we had just people just focusing on, bringing the team, hiring new people. But there's things like succession planning, there's about performance monitoring, there's about lots of other things, onboarding, offboarding. So we want to get everyone through all of them if we can within 3 months. So then they get a much more comprehensive experience. But we're going to do it in a way that it works for us as well. And then all, to do that, you need to have the documentation. If you don't, then because people come every 3 months, so you just have to have everything prepared as much as possible. So I'll start sharing next month whatever we can.
All right.
Tracy, have you sort of created anything new in addition to what we shared?
Yeah, we've had, well, our team numbers have grown. So from having the HR, we went on to, because of the nature of what we're trying to achieve, is a food ed tech platform. So trying to teach people around food and nutrition. We came up with some other roles. So we're now a team of 9.
Okay.
I think we are in total now. So we have digital marketing. We're recruiting for another assistant. So what we're trying to do, one of the things I identified, and this might be useful for Gabriel, and I don't know if Graham's got any sort of, whether this has happened to you yet. So where you have a volunteer and something happens and they drop off, before they drop off, and I learned that from the first one, we had a content, because a lot of our work has to be around content editing and things like that, and sometimes can be difficult to get volunteers in that area. So we had a volunteer who, and I think Manoj is aware of this, but he doesn't know the full details. I just told him the person dropped off. They dropped off, but before he dropped off, you start to see a behavior. So there's a pattern where you know that they're not consistent anymore, whereas they were consistent. And many things could have happened in their life. Straight away from that experience, and he dropped off all of a sudden, and we had to try and get to recruit someone because the work needs to carry on. So social media is very important for us. Instagram, for example, this person was handling Instagram and suddenly he dropped off. And that meant for like a duration, our Instagram was silent. So what I've learned to do in this process is, once you've recruited somebody, the moment you start to see there's a slight dip in what they do, either because maybe it's too, maybe there's things going on in their lives, or it's too monotonous, where it's a particular type of work, and maybe they're getting bored. I'm learning to quickly identify that, and we can either recruit somebody else to back them up, or I change what they do, so that way they're not bored. So I think that's a lesson that I'm learning, because when it happened with that guy and we had a dip in terms of our social media, I had to learn to think about having 2 people on one area, so that if something happens or you see a pattern coming, because you want continuity, business continuity, you have to have somebody else recruit someone quite quickly, so that once that person is dipping, straight away, they've got somebody else who's taking on their role. It's a volunteer role at the end of the day. Yeah. So it's no hard, there's no hard or fast rule on this, but it's about, and I liked what Manish said about treating them more than you probably even treat people you pay. That's the honest truth, because they're volunteers. You're not paying them. They're using their resources. So it's about valuing their time, valuing what they're giving to the organization, always praising them for the amazing work they do. I think we're more settled, Manoj, and that's me being very honest. From when we started, we're getting more settled. And I think the team is starting to understand, because we're learning. As you know, as tech startup, we're going to make mistakes. I don't have all the stats in my head. I don't know all of the performance and what they should look like, all my performance targets, what should they look like? I'm also learning through the process what that should look like. And I think they understand that, but you need to get them, you need to be honest and get them to that space to understand that, listen, I don't know everything. I'm learning through this. If you've got some experience, and I've got to be honest with you, some of them actually came up with some amazing ideas that I've never thought about. And I give them that responsibility. And I say, okay, you've come up with this idea. We do stand-ups twice a week. And this is from Agile Knowledge. So we have stand-up on Mondays, stand-up on Wednesdays. That way I get...
Is that with the whole team?
Yes.
Oh, I should do it. I don't do anything like that.
Yeah, you need stand-ups. All of them come in. Say again?
You mean meetings?
Yeah. We have stand-ups 10 a.m. on Mondays, 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. 10 to 10. We used to do it 10 to 10:40, but it's an hour slot, but we could finish earlier. And that is just for them to give me updates on what they're working on. What area of the business are you working on? What new tasks are you going to deliver this week? Why are you delivering those tasks? So everyone gets an opportunity to speak about what they're doing. So they take responsibility for their role and for their job. And they come up, and I find that that meeting is helping them come up with ideas. They start talking about, oh, I was actually thinking about this. How about we try this? And the stand-ups have been the lifesaver for us, because they know they got to be on a stand-up. They've got to attend stand-up. And when they attend stand-ups, they're very vocal. At that point, we've even had presentations. You couldn't believe it. Had presentations. One of them had to do research in terms of our target audience, how we could start speaking to them better in terms of language and social media. And she came up with this whole proper document, and she presented. And I said, do you want to present it? And she presented, because I am very conscious that they're also learning. And they would take this with them wherever they go, whether they're setting up their own startup, whether they're going to work somewhere else, whether they're going to end up working for me, who says I can't make a lot of money and employ them later on. And it's about how we build their confidence, because they want the opportunity to shine. We need to give them that opportunity. So the stand-ups are a perfect way to get them talking, get them taking responsibility, get them owning their side of the role and delivering their side, because they know they have to deliver it. By the end of the day, we want to see increase in numbers, footfall in KCA. We want to see more people signing up to our courses. We want to get more tutors on the platform. They know the drill. It's about how we do that.
Okay, I'm just conscious of the time. We thank you so much for sharing. We're going to drop off. Do you want me to extend the time, or you got everything out?
I'm good till 5, but I really appreciate what she's saying. I think having a backup person for critical roles, that especially when you know the person is a volunteer, can leave at any time. I think that's a great idea. I'm going to use that. Have at least 2 persons for a critical role. They can support each other. They can share the tasks among themselves. And then if one leaves, the other can quickly fill in while we get another backup. So I think that's a great one, especially for like this HR